started playing bands when I was about 14 years old, and because I didn't have friends who played instruments, and I wanted to be in a band more than anything in the world, I taught my friends how to play guitar. We found a guy who could play drums, and then we found a guy who could sing because his brother had PA speakers. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in the band. So starting from there, and from the first band we ever had, we thought we were terrible, but we learned copy songs, cover songs, but we also, from the very first, we knew how important it was to do our own material. So the first band I ever had, 13, 14 years old, we wrote our own songs. Now, in college, I worked my way through college with the same kids, the high school kids that I had in that band, and we had a band, like a glam rock band, sort of punkish, and we were very successful in Madison. And then we broke up. I was in a different band in Sheboygan, Wisconsin for 7 months. It was awful. And I got back together with my 3 high school friends to start Yipes, which eventually got signed to a record contract with RCA Records. When we started out in Yipes, there were probably 300 places you could play in, maybe more, in Wisconsin. All you needed was a good agent, and there were tons of agents out there, which is completely different from now because it's so many fewer places to play. But we could work 4 days a week. You wouldn't want to go to some of the places we worked at, and you wouldn't want to go to some of the towns we had to go to. But it really gives you experience. It makes your band tight. It makes the band feel like your brothers, because you have to go through a lot of hardship and a lot of audiences hating you, because Yipes, the band, came out and we were playing places where all they wanted was whatever metal was popular at that time. We were not a metal band at all. And so we had a lot of ups and downs, constantly playing. And then we all went broke. We lived in Madison, and we ran out of money, so we all moved home with our parents back to Milwaukee, and started playing on a regular basis at a giant bar on the near west side. It was called the Palms, and it was a venue with a giant stage, beautiful lights, and you could fit 1,000 people in there, and there were sometimes. But we entered a Battle of the Bands contest and won. And from then on, we got a record attention from record companies and better bookings too, better shows. We were all on the same page. We had no idea what we were doing, and we had no idea what the music business was like, but we were like brothers because 3 of us had been together since we were 14 years old. And I think you can tell when bands, I think some of the best bands are the ones that start when your core members are together when they're kids, because you have fights and you have personality clashes, but you know each other so well, and you kind of, that it reflects itself in the music. It's, what's going to happen, what somebody's going to do, and that probably is why we were successful, because we were all together. It was, we were us against the world mentality. It's important because it's the support you get. Every scene that I was ever part of had one bar that everybody went to, and the bar promoted local acts. I mean, we were in the beginning of the Minneapolis, the band The Replacements? No?
Yeah.
Okay, but the Minneapolis had a great scene. Seattle, if you ever were in like early 90s in Seattle, it's when you have that support network. And the most important thing is places to play and places to make mistakes. And when a town has a music scene, that means there's more places, more people willing to go see live music, and most importantly, something that doesn't happen nowadays, people willing to pay to see local live music. I don't know how it happened, but somewhere along the line, cover charges. People don't want to pay to see live music. People aren't as interested in seeing, except for big concerts, of course. But people are not as interested to take a chance on live music. People are more interested in craft beer or a good restaurant. There's so many other things that that people will spend their entertainment money on. And I don't think people go out as much as they used to, or drink as much as they used to. And I guess drinking is an important part of a live music scene.
Well, even like the age for drinking when it changed, like I feel
that was a big that didn't help at all. And you know what else didn't help was the smoking ban, because music fans, some of them smoke. It just one of those things that keeps people out of bars where a lot of live music takes place. I don't know about you guys, but I was in a rock band. Even my solo show now is raucous and it's energetic, and I try to get to people. I don't want to see some quiet show at a coffee house or a coffee shop with some guy singing about his feelings. I don't really, that's just my opinion and my taste. I like music that slams you in the chest. You're talking to the wrong guy, because I am not really part of it.
Yeah.
So, but I do keep up with review. Like I read the Shepherd every week, and we see who's playing. I know the names. I try to get to, when I'm playing at festivals, I watch the other bands, and I've seen a lot of good ones. Tons of good bands, tons of real talented bands that may not have their whole live thing down yet, but you can see how great they are. My advice is, a lot of bands will rehearse and rehearse and rehearse and play one show every 6 months. My advice is rehearse for 2 weeks and then go find some place to play. Go try what you do out in front of people. And even if it's just your friends, maybe somebody else's friends will be there. My success as a solo performer was because I played Chicago every Monday, Madison every Tuesday, Milwaukee every Wednesday for almost 10 years. And then from that, I started playing at Summerfest. And before long, I played every day at Summerfest. Think how many people saw me. Think how many, and that's why I've been able to do this as long as I have, because I can go to Green Bay and play. I can go to the Twin Cities. I can go to Chicago. I didn't just limit myself to where I felt safe. And that's another thing. Don't limit yourself to just playing in one town. Try to get everywhere. You hear a lot of young bands just get in the van and go play Legion halls. That's the way to do it. What do you think the live experience? What is so great about scrolling through your Instagrams? What's so, it's just, you're alone. How do you meet other people? How do you meet like-minded people? How many people, you like this band or you like this singer? How are you gonna, you're gonna be online and go, oh, I like this singer. That means that 6 months later, when that singer's not cool, that's another thing. The attention span is so short now, and what people start disliking something, it happens fast. I don't look at any comments under my YouTube videos. I don't look at anything on the internet, because when I did, it was like people attack you it's like, okay, yeah, you can be cruel. Come to my show and say that to me. If you have the guts, come watch me play. And you guys live in a different world, a little more. There's so much hostility that when something sucks. I mean, I'm tirading.
Oh yeah.
But when a movie can be dead in the water because everyone's heard about it and they said, well, this movie's gonna suck, and it's done. Think of it happens to music too.
Like people almost shut it down online to the point that people don't come and see for themselves.
Exactly. Yelp. My friend owned a restaurant in Chicago, and people would be in his restaurant using his Wi-Fi. He'd know that they were reviewing his restaurant on Yelp. he could practically see the review, or from the time they were doing it, read it. And they would be slamming his restaurant while eating his food. That's just insane. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
But I'm old, so well, I'm trying to play 4 to 5 gigs a week. Still, I play a lot of private parties, a lot of corporations. Still in bars. I do festivals. I do weddings, which is that's always fun. No, I'm if I stopped making up new music, if I stopped writing new music, then I would just call it. But I'm in a recording studio every week, and I do production music for when you watch a movie, the music that's like a little blurb of music that if they don't want to pay for like a major song, there's a need for all sorts of background music. Some of my songs are like on English TV shows. They all over the world it gets used. So I do that. So I'm pretty much still full-time musician. You find there's a bunch of different companies. I wish I could help you, but I work for a company called Mid Coast Music, and he is always looking for writers. So you give me a card or something, I can pitch it. I can't promise anything, but he's always looking for different writers, different styles. He is always looking for different styles. So here's the thing. I love the human element of music, and I love when you know that there's humans playing instruments. But I like a pop song. To me, should just be like this joyful noise that just no matter who it is. And if the quantizing the drums make it sound better, and I do it all the time, or if midiing the drums, and then just because your drums don't sound that great, turning them into drums that sound a little better. I can't really argue with if it makes the whole song sound better. I like all the tech. I like auto tune. I love the way auto tune sounds. That as far as technology, I'm a crappy at social media, but I do like being able to go in the studio and go, let's just cut this part and put it over here. Oh, we can add this. It's a lot better than doing it on tape, on digital, on analog. So,
Yeah.
but I do. But that being said, I like it when somebody real human being is playing the instruments. When you have a major label, you do pre-production, and you do that for a few weeks. When I made my albums years ago, it was more expensive. You didn't have that luxury of having that digital recording. It was all analog on 24-track tape, and you had to be ready. You had to know this is what your basic track is going to sound like. You're going to play it 100 times, and then you're going to add the energy and the magic when you're playing in the studio, and you pretty much know what you're going to overdub. So preparation, and I still do that, even though I don't have to, because I write a lot of songs, and you can change them so much, with the programs you have now. When I was signed the record contract back with Yipes, the part of the common deal then was you gave away your publishing rights for the first 2 records. Then you got a quarter of your publishing back on the third one. It was because those were the days. They stole your money. And that's another advantage of now, when you can become a star on the internet, you can make a lot more demands on who owns your music. Even though, look at Taylor Swift. She wants to get her masters back, because some unscrupulous guy signed her up to a deal. But they would say then, well, we're taking a chance on you. We're spending all the money on you. So I never get royalties from that, but from my production music, I get checks for all that, and I get it's not a ton of money, but it's money, and it's money for something you created. which is always satisfying.